The end is near. The end is near. These are the end times. Oh, hey. My name is Mr. Beat, and I regret to inform you that the end of the world is near. To find out more, go to my website, IamMrBeat.com, or electricneedleroom.band. There's plenty of stuff there you can buy. You know, I'm not the only one saying this.
Many end-time signs that Jesus warned about are prevalent in the world today.
Why is that? It's because this is the end of the Gentiles. This is the prophecy that we have all been looking for.
10 signs that we need to pay attention to that point to the end times.
And endtimes.com is your premier source for cutting-edge end times analysis.
We are literally living in the end times. It really breaks my heart and saddens me to see how evil this world is becoming every single day.
All of them seem to want your email address, by the way. But yep, search up We're in the End Times, and so many of these videos pop up. And yes, some of these videos are quite old. According to one poll, 4 out of 10 American adults believe that we are currently living in the end times. According to another poll, 83% of people living in Afghanistan said the end times would happen in their lifetime. According to yet another poll, 10% of people around the world think the world is probably going to end this year. Oh, that was actually a poll taken in 2012. The world, in fact, did not end in 2012. But remember that? Remember back in 2012 when a lot of people were freaking out about the world ending? There was even a movie that got in on the fun. A really crappy movie. Anyway, the 2012 phenomenon was when a bunch of people thought either world-ending or world-transforming events would happen on or around December 21st, 2012. The end date of a 5,126-year-long cycle described in an ancient Maya calendar. Yeah, that date came and went, and the end of the world did not, in fact, happen. But people have been saying the end of the world is near, or I should say, people have been saying the end of the world is near for humans for at least a couple thousand years. Here in the United States, it's often certain Christians who are the ones who won't stop talking about the end times, often paired with the return of Jesus Christ. But it's not just Christianity that has been all about apocalypticism, or the belief that the end of the world could happen any day. No, 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 no. Other religions have got in on the fun too. Here's a brief history of the end of the world. This video is once again sponsored by Aura, and it's an important time to be talking about them since hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of every American. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from National Public Data, which provides personal information to employers and others doing background checks. And yep, these stolen records include full names, addresses, date of birth, phone numbers, and social security numbers. It's pretty messed up that the social security number of every American is just out there for free. So what can you do to keep your data safe? Well, I use Aura. Aura monitors your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points to alert you to potential identity theft, giving you up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. They also provide a bunch of other features to keep you safe online, all inside one app. I highly recommend you go to aura.com/MrBeat to protect your personal data right now, as National Public Data isn't going to do anything about it. I'm not leaving myself or my family vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, go to aura.com/MrBeat and try your first 2 weeks for free. The link is just sitting there in the description of this video. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. We humans tend to respect other humans who are able to predict the future. They predict something will happen, it happens. They predict something else will happen, and it happens. Well, shoot. If this pattern keeps repeating itself, we're more likely to listen to their predictions, aren't we? In fact, today, experts are basically the closest thing we have to fortune tellers. They know so much about a topic that they are often able to predict the future with their deep knowledge of that topic.
But there are experts and there are just con artists.
Con artists convince us they have deep knowledge of a topic when they actually don't. Now, why would they do this? Well, to sell us something, of course.
And yes, most people who have tried to convince us that they know exactly when the end of the world will be have proven to just be con artists. They were just trying to sell us something.
One of the earliest and most famous descriptions of the end times can be found in the book of Revelation, the final book of the New Testament, and therefore the final book of the Christian Bible.
The most sacred book in Christianity.
Though they generally say it was written around the year 90, historians don't know exactly who wrote the book of Revelation. Some say it was this dude, John of Patmos. Regardless, it's still a pretty influential book today, and hundreds of millions of Christians around the world look to it as a guide and even prediction of the end of the world.
But there's a big problem with the book of Revelation. It doesn't tell us exactly when the world will end. Dang it!
Don't worry, other dudes told us exactly when the world would end, like Montanus, who arguably started the world's first doomsday cult and regularly said the world would end any day now.
Any day now, any day now, any day now. That was in the year 156. But I'm just getting started, buddy.
A Christian bishop named Hilary of Poitiers said the end of the world would happen in the year 365. Well, 365 comes and goes, so he pushes back the date. A few years later, another Christian bishop named Martin of Tours predicted the world would end before the year 400.
Nope.
Meanwhile, these three dudes all predicted Jesus would return in the year 500, basing their predictions on the dimensions of Noah's Ark.
Jesus did not return in 500. Jesus did not return in 500.
Flash forward a few centuries later, and a Spanish monk named Beatus, or Beatus, got all bold and said that Jesus would return specifically on April 6th, 793. Dang, bold indeed.
Well, April 6th, 793 came and went, and Jesus did not return.
Beatus then revised the year to 800. Didn't give a specific date this time, but possibly never knew he was wrong about that too, since he died in 798. In defense of Beatus, Sextus Julius Africanus also predicted the world would end in 800. And Gregory of Tours said, the end of the world will happen sometime between 799 and 806.
Nope. And sometimes predicting the wrong date of the end of the world could get you into trouble, sir. I mean, ma'am. Yeah, only if you were a ma'am.
In 847, a woman named Theoda predicted the world would end that year, but was eventually forced to admit she made up her prediction to make some money. She was publicly flogged for making the prediction up.
By that time, though, it was increasingly common for Christians to declare when the world was ending and Jesus was coming back soon.
Eschatology, or the study of the end times, even became a legitimate thing. Sometimes weird things would just happen. They got a lot of people freaking out about the end of the world, like a big solar eclipse in Europe in 968, or the Black Death, or Halley's Comet appearing every 76 years or so.
Oh, here's a prediction for you. I predict that Halley's Comet will next appear in the sky in July 2061. Ha! Look how smart I am.
Anyway, there's a whole list of dates predicted for apocalyptic events on Wikipedia. That's fun to check out on a Saturday night.
Notable on that list, some pretty big names, like
Martin Luther, who predicted the end of the world would happen no later than the year 1600.
and
Christopher Columbus, who predicted the world would end in 1656 or 1658. He also predicted it might end in 1658. I don't know. By that time, the Roman Catholic Church said Christians should not predict specific times for the end of the world, okay?
oh, that didn't stop Christians from predicting the end of the world, especially the ones who left the Catholic Church.
Before you know it, entire Christian denominations formed believing the world would end on a certain date, like the Shakers, who predicted the world would end in 1792. Oh, and also in 1794.
But it wasn't just Christian denominations.
A preacher named Antonio Conselheiro, I think is how you pronounce his name, I could be wrong, convinced his 20,000 followers in Brazil that the world would end in 1900. Coincidentally, that same year, a group in Russia called, I'm not joking, the Brothers and Sisters of the Red Death predicted that the world would end on November 13th.
And when that day came, November 13th, 1900, they decided to burn themselves to death on that day.
But people kept on predicting. There are dozens of people who, in the following decades, predicted exactly when the world would end. And millions of people believed them. Like this dude, Herbert Armstrong, who said the world would end in 1936. And this self-described, quote, psychic, Gene Dixon, who said it would end on February 4th, 1962. After that didn't happen, she said the world would end in 2020.
And it did. Just kidding. Kind of.
And this dude, Jim Jones, yeah, you've probably heard of that guy, who said a nuclear holocaust would end the world in 1967. And this dude, Charles Manson, yeah, you've probably heard of that guy too, who predicted the world would end in 1969. Nice.
Even in my lifetime, charismatic people kept making up end of the world dates, and their followers believed them.
The Taiwanese preacher Han Ming Chen started a movement and predicted that not only would the world end on March 31st, 1998, but that God would be seen on Channel 18 all across North America. To prepare for this day, Han Ming Chen's followers moved to Garland, Texas, because it sounded like Godland. I'm not joking. Where they dressed in white, wore cowboy hats, and drove fancy cars. Influential preachers obsessed with the end times have only in recent years realized that perhaps they shouldn't predict the world will end on a specific date.
They're going to see him on that day that is yet future. Revelation 1:7 says, look, he's coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him.
Well, that's Billy Graham. Back in 1949, he predicted that the world would end within a year or two. Well, that didn't happen, but he went on to become one of the most successful preachers in human history after he realized it was silly predicting specific dates in which the world would end.
But that still hasn't stopped others.
Like Ronnie Wineland, founder of the Church of God, preparing for the Kingdom of God. Despite going to prison for a while for tax evasion, he's still at it these days, talking about the end times on his YouTube channel. He predicted that Jesus would come back on June 9th, 2019.
Jesus did not come back on June 9th, 2019.
But we'll have to wait for other predictions to probably be wrong, like the Messiah Foundation International's prediction that the world would end in 2026, and Rasha Khalifa's prediction that the world would end in 2280.
Heck, many scientists predict that in approximately a Google years, no, not Google, a Google, the universe will lose all heat and not be able to sustain life any longer. They even call it the heat death of the universe. Fun times.
So yeah, the world likely will end at some point, but there's no point worrying about it.
The bottom line is no human being knows exactly when the world will end. But please don't tell anybody this, because I need to make some money. The end of the world is near. We are in the end times. The end of the world is near. Thank you. Nope. 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 Slowly going into madness. Nope. 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 Nope.
I need to take you to the hospital.
Jesus did not return in 500. Okay. Hey, thanks for being curious and watching this video. There was a lot of end of the world prophecies that I didn't include in this video, like the Brahma Kumaris, a movement that believes all humans will die except those living in India. Or my boy Pat Robertson, who predicted that the world would end in 1982 and then later predicted the world would end in 2007. He died last year, but said the world would end any day now for the rest of his life. And David Meade, oh boy, that guy, that's not even his real name. We don't know his real name. He predicted it all end in 2017. Maybe it's still 2017.